Hi, good people from all around the world. This is Nick. Welcome back to Valheim. Today's video, I'm going to react to a video, a dev blog video by Irongate Studios on the Ashlands, making the Ashlands walk and talk, episode one. So that implies episode one, obviously, that there's going to be multiple episodes of this. So I'm excited to see already, based on this first image here that we have. It reminds me of the swamp, but if the swamp was on fire, like if you had the swamp mixed with Mustafar from Star Wars, you can see the fire burning through the trees here. I'm going to include a link of this video below in the description, so if you want to watch the video just without me reacting, that's alright. And so here we go.
Welcome everyone. We're back with not quite a fireside chat, but with a version of this that we're going to call a walk and talk. We'll be doing a couple of these, though each will be a little bit shorter than the previous fireside chats. But let's get to it. My name is...
Actually, there's kind of like a smoke thing coming from this, and this reminds me of when you would be in the forest and you would come across one of those gray dwarf spawner things. I can't remember what the actual name of it is, or if you're in the swamps and you would come up with one of those rotten pile kind of spawners that would spawn the enemies. That reminds me of that, but for the Ashlands here, this tentacle thing coming out of the ground here with the smoke coming around it.
Let's get to it. My name is Josephine, and I'm a community manager, etc., here at Irongate, and I'm here with two of my colleagues to talk a little bit about Valheim and specifically about the Ashlands. Let's start with some brief introductions.
The terrain here seems pretty much the same of the Ashlands that we have at the moment. I remember there was a big change between what they had planned for Mistlands originally and what they has now, where there was big cobwebs and big trees and giant skulls, and it went from that to this very rocky, very mountainous terrain that's difficult to traverse. But it seems like this part they've mostly kept with the old Ashlands.
Who are you and what do you do? Let's start with Jonathan, who have not been on one of these before.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan, and I do a lot of different stuff. I usually call myself a tinkerer. I guess I'm mainly coding, but doing a little bit of everything. Talking a lot about design with Robin and Andreas, and yeah, that's me.
And Robin, who are you?
Hello, they say I am Robin. I am a generalist artist, art director, and lead of Ashlands, I guess you could say. Working together with Jonathan and Andreas, planning out the Ashlands.
Indeed. But let's get to the Ashlands, essentially, then. I want you to talk a little bit about what actually goes into creating a Valheim biome. Like, what are the steps to create one, and what do we need
There's a
to get a
certling.
complete biome?
Well, first you need a pinch of salt. You need
Maybe with the Certlings there, it could be just the old biome. Maybe they're not doing the current Ashlands.
2 tablespoons of butter,
A couple of eggs.
couple of eggs. Break some eggs to make some biomes. Yeah. There's so many things that goes into making a biome that there is no clear-cut recipe, I would say. But it starts with a vision. I think that it started just after Mistlands was released. Was it December? Or was it? I think it was.
Yeah, it was the November, December, depending on if you count the public test or not.
I think this was like 1 week before we went on Christmas vacation. I sat down and didn't have much to do, and I wanted to do something like sketch or do some concept art. I had an idea of Ashlands, or what it could be.
Yeah, see that tentacle part, it has like a purplish glow. I don't know how far back we can get on this.
Didn't have much to do, and I wanted to do something like sketch or do some.
I'll turn off
concept
closed
art.
captions
I had
for a
an
moment
idea
here.
of Ashlands, or what
Yeah, you can see the waves coming off of it. I would not be surprised if this is a spawner of some type.
it could be, and I was thinking a lot about like.
Actually, there's a bunch of that waves, not just there, but it reminds me if you've ever seen like a hot summer, if you've ever experienced like a hot summer's day and you look down way down at the street way down there, and then you see like almost this wavy clear film mirage stuff for the ground from the heat. I think that's what they're kind of thing they're going for. Like
was
right
thinking a
here,
lot
you can
about,
tell. Like
Terminator,
right there.
and I was thinking a lot about like Terminator.
Oh yeah, Terminator's
Judgment
awesome.
Day, the movie. If we could just not go for the classic fire demons and lava golems, if we could go for something like more undead, that's where it all started, I think. Yeah, I think somewhere there. That's where I actually did the concept first. I thought it would be cool with an undead kind of place with fire, and yeah, just rolled on from there, I guess.
Yes.
And sort of to kind of go along with the Terminator theme, I do know that there's some people who are very critical of the time in between the release dates that Valheim has and versus the budget that they have, and there's this kind of lack of understanding or lack of patience with why does it take like a full year and we still haven't had another update yet, and they have this big budget now with all these people that have purchased the game, and why haven't they come out with it yet? And I do understand, I do understand that criticism and everything, but at the same time I would rather have them take their time and flesh out, come up with ideas like this. Rather, if they had rushed it out, they would have made lava golems and they would have made the typical stuff. But because they had enough time, they were able to come up with more original content and things like that. And going back to the Terminator, like the first Terminator ones were like, they had enough time. James Cameron had enough time to really envision the movie and really come up with the movie. And the first two were amazing. But then after that, there's so often things get rushed, and the lack of inspiration and the lack of having just time to think about things and trying to come up with a concept and trying to put things on paper and trying to really flesh things out well. Oftentimes when things get rushed, it just becomes kind of generic and not all that great, and just like the sequels of the Terminator turned out to be. It just got worse and worse and worse, and was like more cash grabs and stuff like that. So although I do get the criticism, I would rather than do stuff like this and really take the time to flesh out a really good game, rather than it be rushed and generic and have the lava golems and that kind of thing. Already as it is, it's an amazing game, and I love it. It's really fun. It's one of the best survival crafting games I've played. It's so amazing. It's really good and immersive and so fun to do. I've spent hundreds of hours already. And I can't remember the exact price, but it was like $19, I think. And already hundreds of hours of fun. And I've gotten more than my money's worth already, and they're coming up with all these updates and all these things that they don't charge us for. They could. They could charge us for, like a lot of companies do with DLC and stuff like that, but they don't. And I respect their commitment to continuing the game and making it from early access into a fully fleshed game, that they have this roadmap. And even if it takes 5 years for the game to be finished, as long as they keep going on and making amazing stuff like this, I'm happy. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay, but that's just my opinion.
Because of the Charred were one of the earliest consoles.
Awesome, look at that.
Yeah, and they were loosely based on the Terminator T800 model, because I thought it would be cool if you had like these charred skeletons just
it
walking
is
towards
so
the player.
cool.
Not running, just like ever walking towards the player, trying to catch up and kill you. But yeah, that's where it started. Obviously, we have other creatures as well. Sorry, Jonathan, for cutting you off there, but we have other things there as well. But it started with the undead thing. Jonathan, please.
Yeah, I was just, I didn't want to cut you off either. But like, I just thought, like, more in the general sense of creating a biome, I think it's interesting that, like, when we create a biome, say, like, in one way we're saying, yeah, we're going to create a biome, but in a lot of ways it's like a whole new, I don't want to say an expansion, but a whole new area, which includes a lot of different ingredients. Whereas in some games, a biome is more like, oh, we just want to reskin a few different things, have a new area, a little bit new generation and stuff, and it can be done in a very short time, especially if it's maybe a smaller game. But for Valheim, it's really a whole lot of ingredients working in every single area of the game, not just reskinning stuff. Like, we'd want to add kind of new, interesting things, both like in the design-wise, monsters, weapons, and everything. Add some new mechanics that go well with the game, and not try to reinvent everything either, which is also kind of sometimes difficult because we always have a lot of cool ideas and we want to think like, oh, this would be cool, this would be cool. But at the same time, we don't want to like be building a whole new game in each biome. And I think it's kind of a balance there of how much new things should we be doing and how much should we be using the current systems that we have.
And it's, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's not something that we can plan out straight from the start either. A lot of it is very iterative in how we work. You'll implement something and then you'll test and then you feel, oh, this is missing, we should do this, or this didn't work, we need to recall that and try something different instead. Like, it's never a straightforward process, right?
Yes, that's absolutely the case. And I think many times when we go in and look at a new biome or creating a biome for mistlands, even back when we were doing plains, which was called Hearthlands before, Heathlands before early access release. But I think what happens every time is we go back and look at meadows to Black Forest transition and how that works. I think that is the best version of how to transition from one biome to the next. Getting a pickaxe as a tool, going into that biome, looking for the resources, stumbling upon the dungeons, going into dungeons, getting the reward of the circling cores, and finding these new things that you can all of a sudden build that you were not anticipating. So when we did Mistlands, we went back and looked at the Black Forest progression, and I think when we did Ashlands, we went back and looked at Black Forest to see again. But with that said, Mistlands took Black Forest and pushed it even further with the progression there, and we've gone back to doing a little bit more Mistlands kinda progression with some added touches, I'd say.
The core mantra is always, what would the Black Forest do?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a perfect way to introduce, a near perfect way to introduce player to a new scary place and give good rewards and keep things interesting. We have so many biomes in Valheim, and if you just boil them down into the core ingredients, it's go in, it's difficult, get new resource, become master of that biome, kill the boss, and continue. You can only do that so many times before you're like, I think I'm done now.
Need to add something a little bit extra.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of lucky that it worked so well. Like, I mean, the meadows to the Black Forest is a really like we keep going back to looking at that, and that first one worked so well was very good, because that really, I mean, it's the first one that players see and try and play, and that kind of that one works well is good, because then they actually stay in the game rather than if the first one was a little bit janky and it gets better when you get further in, then people wouldn't even get further in because they would maybe be tired of the game already. So I think it's a good how do you say, like they would go back to the first one and try to somehow make it feel like the beginning of the game, so we're not going crazy in lots of different directions.
Indeed. But let's move on a little bit in my list of things that I want to.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And it's sometimes it's subtle that you're going through all these different biomes and you go through that cycle of, oh my god, this biome is very difficult, there's these difficult enemies here. Then you get the new gear and the new stuff, and then you become sort of a master of that biome, and then you move on to the next one, the same thing. And you can kind of forget, like, you coming across a troll in the Black Forest is no problem at all now, unless I'm incredibly low on food, health, or something. But back in the day, the troll was like the scariest thing that would completely wreck you, and you would have to run. And right now, even the Mistlands, the Yawl is still very, very scary and dangerous. The Seekers are still very dangerous, but I imagine once we get to the Ashlands and we get the Ashlands gear, the armor and stuff like that, it won't be nearly as bad. Like, the plains is still dangerous, but it's nowhere near as bad. Like, I could handle the plains with the Mistlands gear better now, and I just can't wait for the challenges. Supposedly there was a lot of deaths. There was a map that showed all the deaths on the screen, so I imagine Ashlands is going to ramp up the difficulty even further, because to me, the mistlands has been the most difficult biome yet. The fact that even with the wisp light, you can hardly see anything at all, the difficulty of the yaw and the seekers, they can still, even with the mistland gear, they can still hit heavy. And then the seekers, if they're like a 1-star or 2-star seekers, they can get to you pretty much anywhere. They're super deadly. So, but it's going to be cool to see.
I want to talk to you about something that we have done a bit different during the development of the Ashlands versus the Mistlands is that we've been showing a lot more to the community. Back during the Mistlands, we were very secretive. We didn't show a lot, but this time we have shown.
That
shown
thing is
new
going to be
concepts.
creepy.
We have shown some weapons. We've shown some hinted at some of the new mechanics and what effects.
I did a video predicting that this is going to be a showcase of some of the new, that this is not just a fortress, but this is showcasing some of the stuff that we can build once we explore the Mistlands. The Ashlands, not the Mistlands, the Ashlands. Like, we got flame metal gate, flame metal border here. We got these spikes. We got this new type of stone. It looks like cobblestone almost. It looks really cool. And that this is not just the fortress, but showing what we can build later on. Whoa. Is that a new type of cart? Or because the one we have right now is kind of weak. Like, it's tough to roll around. And it's...
We'll have on our development.
What is that?
Does that mean that we constrain ourselves to?
Now, some people they were asking, what do you think this is for? And I had multiple theories. One of the ones that I saw was it's a smoker. Sometimes you hang things on the spikes and it smokes it, which I could understand why that would be. I think it might be another option for a teleporter, because getting across the lava is going to be very difficult. So I imagine maybe you don't even place these down. Maybe these are already there. And you come across one, and then it gets you across the gap to the other side of the lava. But that's just a theory. A game theory.
Certain things just because we have shown them, or does it give us more freedom in a way? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, as you said, I think that has been the case, like in a few different examples, where we do show things, we're not really sure about everything, but we want to share things, which is fun. But then people kind of make their own idea of what it is. Then we kind of realize maybe we don't know exactly where this is going. Maybe through testing and iterative process, we realize that, we're not sure what we want to do with this. But in some ways, we've already shown up certain things. And then we feel that, okay, we might have to cut this part. People might be disappointed about that, or can we figure out a way to make it fit? I think it's fun to share things, but it also makes expectations higher in some ways. We get a lot of comments and we have to consider those. It also makes people, progress-wise, people might think, it's going to be done soon, and we will take our time. Finish.
That is sort of the drawback, one of the drawbacks. It's a double-edged sword, because if you don't give any kind of thing, people might think, okay, what are they doing? Are they still working on the update? Are they still doing this? If you leave people in the dark, they're going to question, like, what's going on. But then if you show them all the progress, they're like, why isn't it out yet? You've got all this stuff. They're going to come out any moment. So it's a toss-up either way. But I think they handled it well in giving the release date that they did, because it gives them plenty of wiggle room within the first 6 months of 2024, that if they come across any hurdles or anything, they still have some months to take care of it. And if they release it early, the fan base, it's setting, I don't want to say low expectations, but it's setting lower expectations than if it would, they said, in Christmas or early 2024. Because if a hurdle does happen that they don't foresee happening, then they can take care of it and the fan base will be more understanding. But if they release it early, because of the expectations that it was going to be anywhere within the 6 months, the fan base is going to be most of them are probably going to be really happy and excited that if it releases within the first quarter of 2024, people are probably going to be excited for it, because they thought maybe they'd have to wait till the second quarter of 2024. So I think that was wise what they did with releasing giving that release date estimation.
When it's finished and when it's good. I think there's both good and bad sides of it.
I
agree.
Agree. There is good and bad in everything. Whatever you choose to do, I believe in. Life needs balance. Everything needs balance. in Mistlands, we were very secretively secret, super secret. We were the super secret agency of super secrets. And I don't really think that was a good way to do it. I'm not sure if I totally like the way that we're doing now, because in my mind, I think we lose some of the interesting jump scares that could happen, or the WTF moments that could happen if people have already
there's
seen.
definitely like a lot of like an element of surprise that we're not gonna get simply because we've shown things. But
I agree. It's kind of like showing a movie trailer that shows a lot of the things, the big spoilers and stuff that you would expect to see. So that is a drawback as well. I think maybe a healthy balance would be to show a couple things and then give an estimated time of release. That might be a way to do it, just to show a couple things and then be like, this is our ETA, and then this is just my opinion as a fan. I have no idea what it's like to develop anything, but from my perspective as a fan, if they came out with a couple concept art like they did with the first, with that crab looking thing and then the skeletons, and they're like, oh, this is going to be early 2024 or mid 2024, then I think that would be a better way. Because this thing is going to be terrifying, even knowing that, even seeing concept art or real game footage like we are right now, even that, the serpents for the longest time were scary for me. I can only imagine the bone maw one. Look at that thing.
We still have some things that we have a hard limit on never showing before.
Oh, wow.
Before, the biome is released, and
that is definitely the one. That is definitely the new Ashlands.
I think there's always going to be a large part of players who will avoid everything, and they will still have these good moments. So I think the people who really care about it, they will probably not be spoiled a lot, and we also have those things. I do think it's a lot more fun for us, and I think it's really important to communicate with the community, especially since we have a little bit longer development times between our updates, so that we have a little bit more open communication. I hope that is something that's been appreciated, but I don't know.
I think as long as you go ahead and just say that these things might change, could change, and will change, I think that's how you safeguard kind of rolling back some features or design choices. In the end of the day, I don't think it's always going to be worth it. Like if we have a creature that looks cool, but and we start creating it, we have an idea or a vision for it, but in game it just doesn't work. We've had that case with the Fallen Valkyrie. The Fallen Valkyrie has gone through so many changes that it's been like, okay, let's just kill her off. Let's take her off the table. But I think we're getting into making her feel much
Thing
better.
is creepy.
But she could have gone, and there's so many creatures that could have been in or could have been taken out. It's always going to be up to us, obviously, but things will change and have to change. I think for the good, for the greater good of Valheim. I think that's a good way to see it.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to take a little bit of a break now because we've gone through some of the things, and we will return for a second walk and talk fairly soon. Thank you for joining me today, both Robin and Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited, and I appreciate that they talked with us about it. I don't know if you guys. Oh, modding Valheim into the game. Oh, that's a different video. I do appreciate that they're this open and to communicate with us and let us know their thought process and why things are the way they are and how they go into developing these biomes and everything, and it's really cool, and I appreciate it. I can't wait for the second one. I can't wait for the second walk. It's going to be cool to see what they have after that, and I can't wait for the Ashlands update. I have a lot of stuff to do in the meantime to occupy my time. A lot of things I haven't done yet. I haven't found Hildur yet. I haven't done the magic yet. I haven't beaten the queen yet. And there's just all kinds of things I have left to do that I might not even get done by the time Ashlands comes out. So I'm excited, and I want to thank Iron Gate Studios for making an amazing game that gets even better with each update, and and I appreciate their work and what they're doing, and that they're taking their time to make a good quality game versus rushing it, and that they can withstand up to the pressure, and they don't rush the game, and they don't put the lava golem in, and they don't put the demons in. That would be a generic thing. That they take time to flesh out more original ideas, more creative ideas, and um, as time goes on and their team gets bigger, it's tough to find people with the same philosophy, and it's like it's their own creation. It's like their baby, and they want to have very specific people to be with them. And so as the team grows and develops and gets bigger, I think we'll have less time in between the updates. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the quality of the game itself and how well it turns out. Even if it takes 3 years from now or even 5 years for it to be fully finished, I think it's more than worth waiting for. And seeing each update is going to be awesome to be a part of that and to be a part of it as it goes. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good day. Bye, everybody.